The Irrational Confidence Podcast. Boise State traveling to Eugene, Oregon. At time of record, Oregon is a 19.5-point favorite. Over-under is set at 61.5. Ashton Genty coming off a monster game last week. Dylan Gabriel looked okay at times. Had a lot of yards. Messed up on a couple of scores. 41-49. Yeah, good line, but they still only put up 28 against a way, way weaker opponent. Fresh, you got anything? Is Boise State pulling this upset or not?
I mean, first off, we just got to check the Boise State vibe. If that the Boise State defense that was in Statesboro on Saturday shows up to Eugene, Dylan Gabriel might set the all-time passing record for NCAA total yards in that game alone. That defense down there was atrocious versus Georgia Southern. So that's the first thing. Right now, I'm looking at this program. They've got to play better. They've got to tackle. They've got to execute. Because the offense they're going to be facing in Oregon is a lot better. Secondly, who's going to help Ashton Jennings? The guy scored 6 touchdowns, put up school record total yards. Who's going to help him consistently? Because eventually they're going to know, if they didn't already, that this guy's an absolute stud, and we've got to shut him down. And you've got to get somebody else involved so that better teams in the league don't start keying on him and taking him away. You've got to find some balance, got to find some other guys to really start contributing to spread the wealth a little bit and to create matchup opportunities. So how does Boise State attack this football game? I guarantee you right now, maybe part of that team was looking ahead to Oregon. They're like, oh, we got Georgia Southern because they had a lead early and they let them get back in the ball game. Oh, we got this game wrapped up. Let's look ahead Oregon. And then they coasted and then they almost lost. So where's the vibe at this for the Boise State team? Are they really fired up? They're ready to take advantage of the opportunity. It was defensively a terrible look, offensively, obviously fantastic last week. Going to the Oregon side, you kind of hope that they were just sort of messing around. If that's the Duck version we're going to get the rest of the season with that talent on that team, offensively and defensively, people picking to win the national championship, people picking to make the playoff like us, it's going to be a little tough pill to swallow because that team did not look very good. They obviously had tons of completions. You mentioned the 41 for 49, but score 24 points, 28 points. You've got to be better. Go out there and smoke people.
Right.
Where was that fire for Oregon to come out and just dominate somebody? To have no care, no mercy whatsoever. Just put it to someone right at the bat, get the third stringers in there in the third quarter, and get ready to move on down the road. Dan Lanning, maybe it's part of the process, but even then, you want to put your foot down week one and make a statement. So how does the team come out versus Boise State at home, ready to rock and roll at night? It's going to be a 7 o'clock local starting 10 o'clock or on Peacock, I believe, Eastern.
Yep, 10.
Come out there, fire up Alson, and just dominate. Absolutely just go off. Leave no doubt because Boise State offensively can score with you. You have to come in here and capture the opportunity and show that you are one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the country. If Boise State can make this a ball game, it's going to make a heck of a case for them for the playoff, first off. But it's really going to put a lot of doubt into Oregon if they're actually truly a contender. What's Dan Lanning doing out there? The last memory I have of Dan Lanning, outside of being a great defensive coordinator for Georgia, was his first ever game getting smoked by Georgia and then losing to Washington 3 times. You've got to reset the narrative. Even though I'm not saying this is a conference championship game, you've got to start dominating folks who are quality opponents and putting them completely in the rearview mirror by halftime or third quarter and coasting forward. So that's kind of where the statement of the program is for Oregon. Can they come out and just dominate somebody? If not, Jenny and that Boise State Bronco team will make it feisty for them, and they might get an upset. In the end, I think Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, Jordan James, the 3 amigos there with Dylan Gabriel, get their feet under them or get their wings going, and they put on a show offensively, and they kind of make everyone forget about last week. I think they put up 56 on Boise State, and they win by 30.
Wow. Evan Stewart's got to have for that to happen, Evan Stewart's got to be more than 3 catches for 15, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying unleash the Duck offense, go off, make a statement.
I hope so, because you take a look here, Fresh, and yeah, you say all of these things with Oregon. I need to see it now. Like, again, week one's week one. And you can give a lot of teams some grace with their performance week one because there's no preseason in college football. So these warm-up games early on are your preseason games, I guess, before you get into conference play. Dylan Gabriel, 83% of his passes complete. But I think a lot of times people are going to focus on the quarterback because it's easy to do. This Duck offense, no way in hell should they average under 3 yards a carry versus Idaho. Like,
Nope.
Seriously, you average under 3 yards a carry. Again, Jordan James had a decent, he was averaging over 6, but Noah Winnington, he's 2.4. Other guys are losing yards. Dylan Gabriel took 3 sacks on the game. Again, I know sacks take out your rushing yards, but come on, guys. Like, you should have been able to run the ball down Idaho's throat in this game. I don't know. That really irks me right there. And then you take a look at Boise. Boise goes for 371 as a team. Genty himself going for 267. I think these offenses are going to trade punches early on. I don't think the defense is going to show up until after halftime. I think it's going to be whichever team can go into halftime, make whatever adjustments that they need to see, and then come back out and dominate. The question I'm going to ask you, Fresh, and again, I think it's really intriguing in this matchup. What do you put the odds of Boise actually pulling this upset? Because I think a lot of people will still, with it being Boise State, I think there will be some action on seeing that this is an upset. Like, people will pick this.
I don't trust the quarterback.
Madsen?
I don't, in a big venue like this, you're going to Alton. It's gonna be a ferocious environment.
Right.
You can never count Boise State out for any kind of upset. We've obviously seen that historically, but right. I think it's a 10% chance.
Okay.
I'll give you 10%. Like Oregon,
10%.
That the line of scrimmage game. You mentioned that earlier about their lack of firepower. I'll say offensively on the offensive line. If this week of practice doesn't light a fire to them, then we raise the red flag on Oregon. This is a chance for them to really all right, it's time to get going and really get a matchup. And in the end, if you want to talk about playoff seeding, you beat Boise State and Boise State wins the Mountain West and only has 1 loss and you're the team that beat them. Even if you don't win the Big Ten, you're the guaranteed 5 seed for the most part.
Right. I think that if Boise pulls the upset in this game, let's say Boise does pull that upset. Let's say, and me, I'm right around 10 to 15% myself. If Boise pulls this upset, they have a marquee win on their schedule. And let's say they're the group of 5 representative. They're most likely, they're in their driver's seat for that position from here on out. I don't necessarily think that the group of 5 then is the 12 seed if it's Boise with an upset over Oregon.
That's a great call. I mean, we're already seeing the ACC, even though Miami and Georgia Tech have chances, but everyone else in the league's taking some bad L's to start off with, or just some L's. The Big 12 is going to beat each other up. So that way you're going to have losses there ranking. If Boise State pulls off the upset of Oregon and then runs the table through the Mountain Western 13-0, they're the 4 seed, maybe the 3. I mean, the Mountain West isn't exactly, it's not going to be as great this year as it has been in the past.
Right.
But still then, you're the 3 or 4 seed, you get a bye week.
Right.
That would be a statement.
Or if you're 5 through 8 and a team's got to go in December into Boise.
It's exactly what they'd want on the Smurf curve.
Ooh, that would be a tough one.
Imagine like Missouri or Penn State or Ole Miss or Oklahoma State rolling into Boise, Idaho. Their fan base is rolling up in the middle of nowhere and snowing down in December. That would be a heck of a game.
God, that'd be an awesome game. That'd be awesome. One can dream.